Thank you for joining the Denver Kids Better Together virtual event today. Before our program begins, we'd like to thank our Platinum underwriters who made this event possible, including 5280 Magazine, Colorado Biz, Larry and Margaret Byrne, and Mentor Colorado, celebrated by Joan Brennan. At the Gold underwriting level, thank you to AMG National Trust, the DeVita Village, Garment USA, Noel and Erica Wickwar, UBS, and Western Aero Services. And thank you to our Silver underwriters, including Denver Rotary Club Foundation, Independent Financial, Merrill Lynch, the Gardner Sullivan Group, KPMG, the Law Office of Roy W. Penny Jr., PC, Moss Adams LLP, Rotary Club of Denver, and Van Hessen. Remember, all donations and pledges made today will be matched dollar for dollar up to $30,000. And now, we'd like to introduce Denver Kids CEO, Jim Goble Becker.
Hello, I'm Jim. Thanks for joining us this morning for our virtual event, which has replaced our in-person annual breakfast gala. Today, I want to start out by hearing directly from some of our students and learn what Denver Kids means to them.
Before I started Denver Kids, I wasn't feeling that confident with putting myself out there or sharing my ideas.
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, life has felt pretty solitary lately. I've really struggled with not being able to socialize or see my friends.
I really struggled with staying motivated.
I miss all my teachers and friends at school.
Before Denver Kids, I struggled with school, having motivation in it, my grades in general.
Before I started Denver Kids, I struggled with how I perceived my future and stressed out about all of the possible options.
It has been a relief to have Karina supporting me during this time because she has helped me remember why it's important to continue learning.
I'm glad I have Denver Kids Inc. with me, especially during these times. Not only because they've been checking in on me and my family, but they've offered to support in any way they can.
I am on track to graduate in 2021, and once I graduate, I hope to attend Stanford University and eventually become a lawyer.
With the help of Denver Kids, I feel confident that I can achieve my goals because I feel supported.
With the help of Denver Kids, I have felt more confident.
I want to and will be the first in my family to go to college.
My future will be brighter because of Denver Kids because it's impacted me so much.
Just as these inspiring students have experienced growth, Denver Kids has also undergone a transformation over the past year, well before we knew anything about COVID-19. We've merged with Denver Urban Scholars, expanded our programming, and implemented strategic, measurable work around our social, emotional, and academic learning tools. Due to the pandemic, now is the time when our students need us more than ever. Their families are struggling disproportionately with the economic impact of job losses. Many of our students have become the sole earners in their families, while also becoming essential workers. Those are the essential workers that help us get the necessities that we've needed over these past few months. In fact, all three student speakers you'll hear from today have been and continue to be essential workers during the pandemic at a grocery store, a restaurant, and a medical facility. Our students have also had to cope with the unique challenges of remote learning and the loneliness of being physically separated from their teachers, friends, and their Denver Kids counselors and volunteer mentors. You see, that's why our holistic programming that helps students keep an eye on the future, even while weathering the current storm, is more integral than ever before. Earlier, I mentioned social, emotional, and academic learning, otherwise known as SEAL. One of the elements of SEAL that we practice regularly with our students is a growth mindset. I think of a growth mindset this way: seeing possibility, particularly in the face of adversity. It's the belief that you can learn and grow instead of being born with a finite set of abilities. The COVID-19 pandemic has become an example of walking the walk. Denver Kids has had to take a monumental challenge and adapt and grow quickly in order to best serve our students in a virtual world. I'd like to introduce a Denver Kids student who's going to tell us about a personal growth mindset moment for him. Santos is in his third year at Community College of Denver. He gets up at 2 a.m. almost every day to go to Walmart as an essential worker before attending his college classes. Hello, Santos.
Hi guys, thank you for having me here today. Back when I was in high school, my freshman year, I was just, a brown kid hanging out with his friends, not really caring about school. My grades were horrible. I wasn't doing so well at home. I was ditching school. It was just bad. What I want to share with you guys today is like the step up moment in my life, or the growth mindset that I've had. Thanks to like the help of Denver Kids, I was able to connect with their staff. The conversation that they had with me was, how can we help you as a student, as a person? Where do you want to be in life? What do you want to do? Who do you want to make proud? And how can we as a program help you? I've never really been asked that in a serious tone, all these questions all at once. And it just really got me thinking, like, what do I want to do with my life? Facing this challenge was a turning point for me because it was hard for me to like first put in work and, switch my whole mindset up. So now it just makes me proud because not only am I the only one in college, I have my brother and sister in college. And, it just shows to my parents that we made it. Not yet, but we're close. We're close. Once college is done for me, I want to go up to become a social worker. And the reason I want to become a social worker is because I love talking with people and communicating, sharing my story. And two, I also want to give back to the community that helped me grow as a person.
Thank you so much, Santos, for sharing that with us. I'm always impressed when our students choose to be vulnerable and share their stories. It truly is humbling. Everyone who is tuning in today, I want you to take a minute to realize how much impact you can have on our students, like Santos. How important you are as role models. If you were to think of a time when you faced a challenge, and instead of backing down, you took a step up, what helped you get through that time in your life? Well, let's use social media to share your step up story and post some advice for Denver Kids students to encourage them during this time. Use hashtag StepUpWithDK to share your insights and your advice. Before I introduce our next speakers, I want to thank our underwriters who made this event possible, including 5280 Magazine, Colorado Biz, Larry and Margaret Byrne, and Mentor Colorado, celebrated by Joan Brennan. These are all at the platinum level. At the gold underwriting level, thank you to AMG National Trust, the DaVita Village, Garma USA, Nolan Erica Wickwar, UBS, and Western Aero Services. Now, without further ado, I want to welcome to our program one of our mentors and board chair-elect, Stephanie McCoy, and her Denver Kids mentee, Ha.
So as Jim mentioned, I'm a mentor with Denver Kids. I got matched with Ha 2.5 years ago, and I'm really excited to introduce all of you to her. She is a remarkable young woman. Ha is a rising senior at Kennedy High School. Hi, Ha.
Hi.
I thought we could start with a little bit of background about you. So maybe you can tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your family.
Well, my mom and dad were both born in Vietnam, so was I. So was my older sister. We were born in Vietnam as well. We moved here when she was, I'd say, around 4, and when I was around 2. So I don't really have much memory of it.
When did you first get into Denver Kids?
In elementary school. I don't remember when, but
So what does it look like being a student within Denver Kids? How often do you meet with your educational counselor, and what's really their role? What would a meeting look like?
Well, usually the meetings with Kate, they happen a few times a month, and then we would just talk about like our lives, like our goals. They would check up on our like grades, they would check up on our families, like how we're doing. They check up on our mental health, which is good because like I know like it gets stressful and overwhelming sometimes.
Mhm.
And then we also like talk about like what we want to do with our futures, which is really beneficial for like I know for me it's beneficial because I don't really have anybody that I can talk to about it yet, or what I want to do with my life. So that's nice. It's just like catching up on our school life and our personal lives and see if we're just doing okay, which is it's good to know that there's someone there other than like my own family or just like friends.
Or what have been some of your favorite things that you've done with Denver Kids over the years?
There were a lot of camps that I've done. Like I did BCM camp when I know I was in like elementary and middle school. Those were fun. Like there were like also leadership camps. Those were also really fun. Just doing things that got me out of my comfort zone and just like doing other things like I guess can benefit the community. That was fun as well. So I really enjoyed doing that because otherwise I wouldn't have done it.
What's it been like for you during COVID and not being able to go to school?
I feel like it affected me and like school really hard because with AP testing, I didn't feel as prepared as I should have if I were at school. I feel like it was really hard with like my mental health.
It is hard when you know, all of us haven't had structure like we're used to, so that's been hard. Has Kate or Denver Kids, you know, during the COVID, tried to help you with some of those issues?
Yeah, Kate and I called about like this website. It was like this mental well-being website. She did these little challenges with my little sister and I about like describing 3 things that we're grateful for, like listing out what we did in our day, just like some mindfulness stuff that really helped us. That was nice.
So I definitely want to brag about you a little bit because you're amazing and it'd be great for everyone to know that. So Ha is ranked #1 academically in her school at Kennedy High School. And she has a 5.25 grade point average, which frankly, I didn't even know that was possible. But she clearly takes a lot of advanced placement classes and honor classes and has really, really excelled. So congratulations, Ha. I know you work really hard for that. Can you talk a little bit about what you hope to do after you graduate from high school next year and what some of your, you know, goals are for life?
After I graduate, I want to go to college. Well, that's what I plan to do. I made like a safe plan that if I can't go out of state, I'll go to like in-state college and then figure it out there, like live at home and then go to school at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to like go out of state.
Well, do you think that Denver Kids will help you through this process and maybe even help you once you're in college?
Yeah. I feel like they'll help me get like probably just like get there first. Like when it comes to, like financial needs, they can like help me figure out with scholarships and what I want to do. Because right now I'm working to saving up for college, so that's gonna help me. But I feel like Denver Kids will really like support me and help me when it comes to like applying for scholarships or just like applying for colleges in general.
Mm-hmm. So what do you want? What do you think you want to study in college?
I want to become a surgeon, most likely a general surgeon.
What do your parents think about Denver Kids?
They really like that there's someone there like helping me, because with my family, my parents don't really speak English, So they can't really help me when it comes to like college or like scholarships or just like school things. So it's nice for them to know that there's like someone that's like really helping me, because what they want for me is just like to grow up and live like a really comfortable life, because they couldn't really have that. They had to work when they were younger to provide for us. So
Ha, thank you so much for sharing your story. You really are an incredible person, and I'm so glad that everyone at Denver Kids and all the supporters got to meet you today. And I know I know you're going to have a great future ahead of you, and I'm super excited that you've been able to be part of Denver Kids and my life for the last 2.5 years. So thanks.
Thank you, Stephanie and Ha, for sharing your story with us today. If you're interested in learning more about becoming a Denver Kids volunteer mentor, like Stephanie, simply click the Volunteer Mentor button at the top right of your screen. Remember, all donations and pledges made today will be matched dollar for dollar, up to $30,000, thanks to the following: an anonymous donor, Brian and Paige Hamilton, Desiree and Todd Jewell, Stephanie and Dan McCoy, Otten Johnson, Robinson Neff and Raganetti PC, Judy and Rick Schiff, and Susan and Jeremy Seamus. And now, we'll hear from a Denver Kids graduate.
Hi, thank you for being here with us today. I'd also like to thank our Platinum underwriters who made this event possible, including 5280 Magazine, Colorado Biz, Larry and Margaret Byrne, and Mentor Colorado, celebrated by Joan Brennan. My name is Ismeraí Diaz Cordova, and I will make a difference in this world. How will you? My mother, San Juana Cordova León, was born in Durango, Mexico in 1959. She immigrated to the United States of America at the age of 12 with her older sister, Maria. She had her firstborn, Alex, at the age of 16, and the last of 7 kids, Ismeraí, at the age of 41. For all those wondering where in the category I fall, I'm the annoying baby sister. Isme. I'm 20 years old, and Denver, Colorado is my home. I grew up very unstable due to the fact that my mother never settled down and bought a home. We rented every year, and the longest I ever lived somewhere was a little over 3 years. My father, Oscar, wasn't really in the picture since he had been deported when I was only 5 years old. He had a severe drinking problem and was pulled over while drinking under the influence. He spent 5 months in jail before he was sent back to Mexico because he was undocumented. I struggled a lot because I had a really close connection with him. I remember he would pick me up from ECE in the afternoon after work simply because I wanted my papito to pick me up. He would stop the paletero man on Saturday morning because I wanted ice cream, and if my girlfriends were with me, he had to buy them all a popsicle too, because it wasn't fair to me that I could get a paleta and they couldn't. The night my mother broke the news about what had happened and the changes that I was going to face in my life is a night that I carry with me every day. My mother had picked me up from school, and I knew that something was off since my papito hadn't shown up. She said to me that he had to stay late for work. That evening I stayed outside later than usual so that I could greet him as soon as he showed up. The sun set and he still wasn't home. My mom told me to go back inside because she needed to talk to me. How do you tell your 5-year-old daughter that her papito isn't going to show up tonight, tomorrow, or anytime soon? My mother sat me in her lap and said, "Mija, I am going to tell you something that is going to make you sad, but you need to be really strong for me and for your dad." I didn't understand what was going on. My mother then proceeded to tell me, "Your dad isn't coming home, mija. He's going to have to go back to Mexico for a while and make things right." My heart shattered into a million pieces. We drove to Castle Rock about twice a month to visit him, and even though my mother had good intentions, every time I left the correction facility to go back home, I left a small part of me with him. I started acting out, developed severe anxiety, and even an eating disorder. As I grew older, my dad's calls became less constant, and my anger towards him grew bigger. My mother shortly became mom and dad since she was the only parent I had present in my life. My bond with her became so strong. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm the youngest of 7 siblings, so the closest siblings to me are Naha and Nefta, whom are 8 years older than me. At the time, I wasn't really close to them because we had really different interests. But Naha and Nefta were the first generation in my family to graduate high school and to attend college. After they went off to college at CSU Pueblo, it was just me and my mother, San Juana, left at home. My mother had suffered from hypertension for as long as I could remember, but of course she had the typical Mexican diet, and she wasn't very compliant when taking her medications. On October 28, 2012, my mother suffered a stroke and had to be induced into a coma. Naha and I had just gotten home from the movies that Friday night when we found our mother in such critical condition in our kitchen floor. Our family was devastated because our mom was our backbone. During the time that my mother was in the hospital, I decided to keep going to school and to push myself and not to fall off track because I knew that that's what she would have wanted. I was introduced to Miss Lori Pena at our school social worker because I was struggling a lot in my traditional class atmosphere. She would walk me to class so that I could get my classwork, and then we'd walk right back to her office. She gave me a safe space and allowed me to work along her side. We'd talk about my schoolwork and about how my visits would go with my mother at the ICU after school. About a week later, my mother passed away on November 4, 2012. Ms. Pena realized the toll that my mother's death took on me, and for some reason that day, she decided that giving up wasn't an option for me. My family was grieving, and I didn't have any structure or guidance. About 5 months after my mom passed away, I was introduced to Denver Kids. My father wasn't present in my life. I was living with my 19-year-old sisters, Naha and Nefta, and we were about to get evicted from our home. Ms. Pena thought that I would greatly benefit from guidance outside of school. I was sitting in Ms. Pena's office when Karina walked in. She had a bright smile and was very easy to get along with. Karina and Ms. Pena explained to me what Denver Kids was, and I was thrilled to know that I wasn't alone in my struggles and that there was a team willing to walk me and push me to my fullest potential. I wanted to prove my friends, family, and statistics wrong. I was a 12-year-old girl who seemed alone but wasn't alone. Karina became my Denver Kids educational counselor, and I developed a really close bond with her. I integrated and became a part of Denver Kids quite fast. I honestly don't know what my life would be like today if it wasn't for my Denver Kids family. The first event I attended with Karina was the annual pumpkin carving event in October. Karina drove all the way out to Aurora to pick me up so that I could participate in the event. When I arrived, there were so many new faces, but it didn't take long for me to make new friends. I had never carved a pumpkin before, so I was beyond excited. Karina took an important role in my life from there on. She would visit me at school and talk about my grades. If I was ever slacking or wouldn't show up to class, she'd be the first to reach out. When Ms. Pena retired back in 2014, she became a volunteer with Denver Kids. She worked alongside Karina. Here's the thing a lot of people don't know about Denver Kids. When you become a part of it, it's for the long run. It's like when you bring your best friend into your Mexican home. They too become a part of the family. There's an unbreakable bond, and there's no turning back. I became very involved, and I had yet another reason to push myself. I wanted to be a leader for the younger generations that didn't have hope. I wanted to show them that after the storm, there's always a rainbow. The summer of my freshman year, I attended Grab the Torch, a leadership camp that helped guide me and gave me the appropriate tools so that I too could become a leader in my community. During a week and a half, I participated in team building activities. I engaged with speakers who were philanthropists and or entrepreneurs, and I was given the opportunity to stay on campus at the University of Denver. I also attended the Northwest Leadership Week with Councilman Chris Herden. This is where my interest in the medical field sparked, actually. I was given the opportunity to learn about different careers and the individual roles in the different fields. Every day for a week, we visited a series of sites like Kaiser Permanente, Denver Zoo, Denver Police Academy, Denver Fire Academy, Denver County Jail, and much more. I had always had an interest in the medical field, so I was thrilled when I was able to visit a medical facility and actually be able to have a conversation and ask questions to different healthcare professionals. Throughout my years with Denver Kids, I met a lot of empowering people, built long-life friendships, and I also participated in activities that I never thought I would be a part of in my life. My junior year, I decided that I wanted to take a trip out of the country with my school. I was a recipient of a scholarship for my trip, and I had to go through an interview process to even be considered to travel. I'm a firm believer that because of the years with Denver Kids, I was more than prepared to sit through an interview and answer any questions that were thrown at me. My mentors helped me fundraise and even donated so that I could make this happen. I say mentors because I felt like Karina, Miss Pena, and another Denver Kids adult, Audrey, were always my greatest support team. In July of 2017, I took my first trip ever to Africa. I have to say, I'm all about the experience, not all about the 18+ hour flight. It was a breathtaking journey, and it wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for everyone that supported me, since my family could never afford a trip like that. After all my battles and hard work, I was yet again faced with another obstacle. The week after my 18th birthday, I got into a very bad argument with my sister whom I was living with at the time. There was always a lot of tension and disconnection between the both of us. Our fight escalated so badly that night that I was kicked out of her home. It was my last semester of my senior year, and I was so close to graduating. Since my mother's departure, I had already lived with all my siblings, so I had nowhere else to turn to. I was homeless and living out of my car. I stayed with different friends, but it wasn't long before I ended up living in my partner's parents' living room. I became obsessed with the idea that I needed to provide for myself, so I turned my part-time job into a full-time job. I felt so deep into depression that I even stopped showing up to school. Corina took initiative, met with my counselors at school, and made my teachers aware of my situation. I was so convinced that this was the end of it. I was going to yet be another stereotype, another statistic, and a failure. I didn't get to experience most of my senior activities, like my senior lock-in, senior prank, and I even missed my best friend's senior presentations. The people around me that truly cared, never gave up, gave me the slightest bit of hope. Karina advised I start counseling and referred me to Kim. I saw Kim twice a week throughout my sessions, and throughout my sessions, I realized it was okay not to be okay sometimes, but that giving up wasn't an option for me. I was a warrior, and I was going to make it. I saw Karina, Audrey, and Miss Pena quite often, and they never failed in reaching out. My best friends Giselle and Crystal helped me with my schoolwork during class, during lunch, and even in between classes. I spent countless hours studying at night and making up late work. All the sweat and tears were definitely worth it because I'm proud to say I graduated with my fellow classmates 2018. Go Phoenix! I pursued an education at Pima Medical Institute and walked across yet another stage in 2019 and received my certificate in medical assistance. I'm happy to announce that last fall I started working on my Bachelor's of Science in Health Administration. I can't express enough the impact that Denver Kids had and continues to have in my life. I was a 12-year-old girl who joined the program without anything left to fight for, and I left knowing how much I am truly worth. I was taught that my skin color, my sexual orientation, nor my struggles will define my future. Denver Kids gifted me the tools to change the world, and through leadership and integrity, I will do just that. I hope to one day give back to my community, and who knows, I might become a Denver Kids mentor myself. My name is Ismeraí Diaz Cordova, and I will make a difference in this world. How will you? As you heard Jim say earlier, Denver Kids has been on a transformative journey over the past year. The organization has become stronger than ever and uniquely poised to further impact the Denver Public Schools community. But right now and over the coming year, Denver Kids needs your support now more than ever. And now, we can't do this without you. Each and every one of you have the power to make a difference. So my ask is simple. Please make a donation today at whatever level you can. It's easy. Just click the button. Come on, I know you want to. Thank you in advance. I know nothing can stop our biggest champions from coming through just like Denver Kids came through for me. And now, I want to invite back Denver Kids CEO Jim for a very short but exciting announcement to wrap up our program today.
Hello again. Thanks to Santos, Stephanie, Ha, and Ismay for sharing their stories. As we've mentioned, over the past 12 months, Denver Kids has been on a journey to strengthen our programs to better serve our students. As we look forward, I'm excited to share with you the visual manifestation of this evolution. The stair step in our new logo represents how we support our students on an upward trajectory. Each of you represents a support, a step in that upward mobility. And launching a new website means we can better communicate with you as we continue on this journey together. To check out our new website, visit www.denverkids.org. Thank you for being with us today. I sincerely appreciate you tuning in and being a part of something that is completely new and special for Denver Kids. I know nothing can stop our supporters and champions like you from coming through for our students, particularly during these unusual, troubling, and challenging times. We are better together, and together we dream bigger.